Hello YouTube, Woody here. So I've gotten a couple things done the last few days. Struggled with wiring a bit, but here, I'll just show you. So I got air filter on, cheap eBay unit, alternator, all the belts, those are all on. Tried to see if the throttle cable would work, just the stock one, but I think I'm gonna have to swap it for the Frontier one. Kind of ugly because it does this crazy loop, but that's fine, it'll work. I pulled all the wiring, I mean short of the engine wiring, but yeah, all the wiring out of this side, all the engine wiring. So all that's in here is specifically the engine wiring, power and ground cables, and starter. So yeah, I started working on wiring. Let me see. And I tried doing it. I was up real late out here with my dying headlamp on at like 11 o'clock at night, trying to get this separated. I pulled all of the engine management back through this firewall grommet, and I was hoping I could just cleanly separate. There's the ECU plug, the junction box for the ECU, the engine bay loom. I was hoping I could just cleanly separate it, cut the wires I need to, but looks like a lot more runs into the dash than I was hoping. So, and I kind of knew that, mainly because if you look in the engine bay on the other side, there's still a coil wire, a few other wires over here. Well, of course I've tucked them away and now I can't find them, but pretty sure there's no 2 sensor wire over here. So there's still stuff that needs to be cleaned up. Oh yeah, this guy. Don't recognize it as an O2 sensor wire because it's such an old style, but yeah, so, oh yeah. And then the AIV or whatever emissions stuff all this is. So this still needs to be pulled out. And I was just going to leave that, but I think not really going to be happy with it unless I know all the unnecessary wiring is out. It's going to be a bit of a rabbit hole, unfortunately, but this truck already has some wiring issues. One of the brake lights doesn't work. One of the headlights doesn't work, and it tells me my brights are on the dash. So probably going to just end up pulling this dash out. I think that's going to be the easiest solution, and just getting the whole harness out of the front half of this truck. Especially because I think I've decided I want to add, I have an aftermarket tack that I can add to this, and I might just be happy with that. I don't know. Instead of, I have another cluster from a V6, but it's missing a little piece that apparently is hard to find and goes out all the time, so I might just leave this one for reliability's sake, so I don't have to A, spend a bunch of money on a little tiny voltage dropper, drops it from 12 to 5 volts to make that gauge cluster work, and B, not have any issues with that same part later. So, plus, you know, I still want to add lights and stuff to the roll bar. So, to get a tack wired in, get all the extra wiring out, also just be able to set this harness and the Frontier harness side by side might be easier than doing what I'm doing now. So I think I'm going to get started on pulling this dash. Oh, and the other big thing, hood's back on. Wasn't sure I was going to leave it off for ease of access, but the thing is, with the weather and it raining so much, you know, it's kind of nice to pop the hood and not get the engine bay completely soaked. And you know, if I need to just open it, do something real quick, not have to deal with the whole, I mean, that is pretty easy setup, but it does take a bit of time, so I just not worry about getting my engine bay all soaked. And then I also did realize that I was going to try and wire this through a smaller plug or through that plug as well. After dealing with that getting stuff through that grommet sucks, especially something this big. And then I also realized that, I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, this is like silicone epoxied in. So getting those wires out of this grommet, yeah, this is one piece with the harness at this point. So I think I'm going to be better off actually just drilling my own hole in the firewall. As much as I didn't want to do that, I think right here might be a good spot. It's a little smaller than the grommet, but I think where the wires poke out, I think I can make it fit pretty well. So that's the plan there. Gonna try and drill a hole there and wire this through right there. But the horrible daylight savings time, it's now getting dark around, oh god, 4:30, maybe 5 if I'm lucky. It sucks. So and it's about noon right now, so I better get started on pulling this dash, getting this harness the rest of the way out, and then that way maybe I can work on it after dark in the garage without having to be in the truck. That was difficult last night trying to figure out what I'm doing. So let's get started. All right. I am stressed out at what I just did. I fell down the rabbit hole. Oh no. Although, perfect timing. I got everything apart just in time for it to start raining, which kind of proves my point of it being difficult to work on it in the car for more reasons than just working on it in the truck. So we've got seats out, dash out, whole harness out. You can already kind of see in there all the plastics shoved in the back. And it's bare. What have I done? Oh god. And yeah, just started raining. So I'm trying not to have a panic attack. It's not the first time I've done this, but oh my god, the last time I did this, like the last time that I pulled apart a perfectly running car, was this thing. And this thing sat for God knows how long. And I ripped the harness out of it. And it's been sitting for like 8 years. So I won't let the same thing happen to this. I do actually need to drive this winter. So before my hill freezes over. But still stressful. Oh my god, I'm having a panic attack. Why did I do this? Oh boy. Well, I guess now that it's raining, it's time to shut the garage and spread that harness out. Start cutting things. Oh boy. Alright guys, so yeah, I actually didn't do anything really. I went inside and took a nap because I got a little overwhelmed pulling the dash out. Didn't want to do all that, just wanted to get the truck running, and now I've got this mess. So I need a game plan of what exactly I'm doing. Maybe some better wiring diagrams, even though I have the factory service manual for both of these. But that's all I got time for this week, unfortunately. It's going to drive me nuts not having this figured out. But I'll get it figured out. It's just a little overwhelming, a little more than I wanted to dive into. But hey, it's wiring, and it's been a long time since I've done a wiring project this big, and especially never mess with anything OBD2. It's not too much more difficult, just more wires to deal with mainly, which again, between pulling the interior and all the gutting 2 entire wiring harnesses for 2 different trucks is yeah, I gotta figure out a game plan, see if I can get some better diagrams that show a little bit more than just the engine harness, like maybe where connectors are. The truck harness ECU wiring diagram that I have doesn't even show wire colors, which is kind of frustrating, and that's from the factory service manual. So I've got to figure that out. And then just this with not having any disconnects anywhere on the D21 harness is hard to back probe and see, okay, which wire is what, with everything being loomed together, because it's not too many wires, it's all one piece from one end to the other. And I even had to cut where the seatbelt sensor and the rear light goes, because I didn't want to have to gut the back half of the truck just to disconnect those. So I just cut them, and I'm going to have to splice them back together when I put it back in. So it's a little annoying how they designed this harness. Didn't bother having any way to disconnect sections. Frontier harness is a little better with that, but again, I don't have the information for wire colors, which sucks. So yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out. Anyways, I'm gonna get a game plan together, and we'll get this figured out next week. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Bye.